Alright, hello everyone, Jerrel from Sungran here, developer of the Silver Falls games, and a few new IPs that I'll be launching in the upcoming year, 2024, along with that sequel remake of Animele, which launched in 2016 on mobile devices. I'll be bringing that to the Nintendo Switch pretty soon. Hopefully the middle of 2024, depends on how the development schedule goes. So, today I'll be working on Silver Falls Ruby River. I'll be remastering the game. So this game launched exclusively on Nintendo 3DS. It was the very final game to launch on the 3DS, and people have been just asking for more. They've been asking for updates and to be brought over to the Switch, especially in Europe. Outside of North America, unfortunately, we were not able to launch the game. So I don't want to just copy and paste the game. What I want to do is make it the best game it possibly can be. I want to take advantage of the strengths of the Nintendo Switch hardware, use more modern technologies in the presentation of the game. So I'm just going to zoom out here first, and I will show you, in general, the map of Ruby River. You can see this is basically where we are. So I have some sort of volumetric fog here. See the UI is sort of generating there. What I'm going to do is go ahead and just disable that while I'm building the environment here. It just saves me from accidentally clicking on the map. So you can see this is our environment. Now the density of trees had to be kept kind of low in the original Ruby River. And really, it's an obscene amount of trees. There's so many trees in that for the 3DS hardware. Adding to the fact that you can basically build infinitely, the fact that I was able to get Ruby River working on the 3DS at all is an absolute miracle. I sometimes get screenshots from people who have been playing Ruby River still quite regularly, and they'll say, "Man, you know, I'm still really enjoying playing this all the time." And they'll send me pictures of things that they've built in these massive worlds that they've built in Ruby River, and I think, okay, so I didn't think Ruby River was going to be able to handle that. So it just comes to show maybe the 3DS was a bit stronger than we gave it credit for. So what I'm working on today is preparing new trees. So previously there was only one type of tree that we could have in Ruby River, and that was because I needed to keep the memory usage down. And when you have trees, the resolution had to be kind of high so you could see the detail in trees. You don't want, a mushy N64 looking tree situation. So this was the only kind of tree previously, but now I'll be implementing other kinds of trees. So I'm upgrading and remastering the shaders for these trees. I'm kind of in the way, and I'm sort of thinking maybe I should have put the inspector maybe on the other side. So I'll go ahead and click through on that. I'm just waiting for Unity. Okay, there we go. Alright. So I'm in the way here. Okay, I have to wait for Unity again. It says hold on. It's just waiting for the inspector to update, so it's just waiting. It says hold on. Okay, great. Oh, great, it clicked out of the object that I wanted to modify. Okay, click through to my mesh again. Okay, I don't have to wait this time. Great. So I'll scroll on down. So I'm using more advanced shaders that allow me to have more control over the visuals and the behavior in terms of how they react to the wind and whatnot. So this is looking good. This tree is basically ready. This is originally the only tree that we had available. So now I'm going to prepare, let's get this guy ready. This will be a new type of tree. So technically there were actually two types of trees in the original Ruby River. And that is because you had a standard sized one, and I'll go ahead and drop in this other one here. Let me see, we'll get that out of the way. And this was technically the second type, and it was bigger, so it took more hits to break, and it gave you more building material. It gave you more timber as a result. So I'm just running that on hardware. I'm running and deploying testing on hardware while I do the development. That helps me make the most of my time if I do some multitasking here. So today we'll be working on that. I'm just going to disable the lighting, and we'll just have a unobstructed view, so we don't have to worry about the environmental lighting. So I will show you the details of the terrain. We'll go ahead and go to paint, and we will paint texture. So you can see I have a couple different layers here. I'll drop some down and then you can see it. So what I'm going to work on today is I want to finish adding details to the terrain. I want new biomes. You know, previously on the 3DS I could only have 2 textures, so that was the sand and the cliff walls, but now I am able to have more. I'm using microsplats as my terrain renderer solution, and anyone that is using Unity's built-in terrain system and they need a terrain renderer solution, I strongly recommend looking into microsplats and see if it works for you. I use this for all of my terrain solutions. It's really fantastic. Say for example, I'll select these little rocks here, and if I just tap a little bit here and there, you can see they sort of come through a bit. My capture card's a little laggy, so you can see if you just give it a light tap, you can have some rocks come through. Just adds a nice variety. So, and I've loaded these layers in, and I'm just planning out where I'm going to use them. As you can see, that's how they show through. They use height map blending as opposed to that bilinear blending that is default in the Unity terrain system. So microsplats is really fantastic. Give that a look. Okay, so I'm actually going to employ just an organizational technique here. I'm going to just create a new object. Create empty. Okay, I'm just gonna label that. I'll call it a biome label. I'm a little off screen. I can only show you certain things about the engine. Anything that would be, you know, sort of NDA protected, anything strictly related to the Nintendo side of things for the engine is off screen. I'm only showing you the general generic Unity stuff. Unity always looks like that. So we'll go biome label, and I'll call this, let's see, Gully. That's not very descriptive. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll click on this guy here, and let's see, for my environment, yellow will kind of stand out. Let's go ahead and pick yellow. Alright, so I'll press F. It zooms me right on in there, so he's down there. I'm going to grab my gizmos, and I'm going to increase the size of that, and then we'll start painting the terrain. Okay, I've clicked on that, and Unity wants me to wait. It says waiting. Okay. Just make the gizmo sizes bigger. Okay, and let me just... I'm not sure if that's a little too loud here. Let me go ahead and turn that down for me here. Okay. So, I'm going to click on... I'm trying to click on that guy. Okay, there we go. I'm running on the capture card. There's a little bit of delay, so it is a little bit of an extra challenge. So this one, I could put some notes in there. I'd like this area to look quite green. You know, I want it to feel like I would like a lot of shade here. What I generally would do as well is maybe I would take a photo of this environment using my tablet PC. I'll use a Microsoft Surface. I'll take a photo with OneNote, and then I'll draw notes onto that. I use the stylus. It's just a very tactile, hands-on way when you're doing conceptual work. And that way you can sit outside, you can enjoy the sunlight, the shade of the trees, the wind, the fresh air, the birds trying to dive bomb you with their projectile attacks, is what I'll say. Alright, so this one's going to be I'll say this one's going to be like our inner lake, right? Our inner lake. So let's just call it, you know what? Let's put some willow trees around here. How about that? Willow lake. How about that? So, I I might have to load in my willow trees, which I have in my other projects. Okay, so I'm just waiting to see if Unity can find any. No, so I'll have to load them in for my other projects. I have willows that I've used in episode Prelude, and they're ideal, so I'll go ahead and grab those in a little bit. So I'll put some willows around there. Let's see. Okay, and I'll just call this the Inner Forest. Inner Forest. There we go. So, let's get right into it. I think I might just go ahead and disable my volumetric fog here for the time being. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Alright, that gives me a better view of what's going on here. So we have this fella here. I'm thinking my Inner Forest, I want more of these. So now that I can have more diversity in the biomes, I'd like to have specific trees in specific areas so it makes the environments feel more varied and more interesting, especially when you get to build your cabin anywhere. I want these areas to feel a bit more different now. So I think the Inner Forest can probably use some of these and some of these here. So first I will paint that biome so I can kind of identify it visually as well. So, okay. See that originally it was just sand. I didn't have any other option. Let's go ahead and click on our terrain now, and let's start painting. So I have a couple different options that I can go with here. We have this very grassy sort of situation here. If I have a look at that, okay, that looks okay. But the situation is that's more of like a meadow type environment. Generally, when you're out in the forest, you see that it's mostly dirt along the ground and some shrubbery. That's generally because the trees kind of starve out the light, so things like grass get much less sunlight. So, just based on my observations, I'm not a tree doctor or a treeologist, if you will. I'm a tree scientist. So what I'm going to do is put on a base layer of these roots here. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Now what I could do as well, and I'll have to check this for performance. The last performance test I ran didn't work great in terms of frame rate on the Nintendo Switch, but you can have to where the details of that texture pop up out of the ground, and it gives the ground just more dimensionality. It makes it look more realistic, but it isn't necessary. Exactly, it's just sort of icing on top of the cake. It just makes it look really cool. But you have to weigh up, is that little bit of coolness, is it worth the performance hit? So those are things that you have to consider when it comes to design. And in this situation, it does look so cool having the roots actually pop out of the ground, but it causes such a significant performance hit on the Nintendo Switch hardware, and so, you know, we'll just, to make up for it, I normally just crank up the normals on that guy, and the normal data makes it look more bumpy as light is hitting it. So, there we go. Okay, so this is about where I'm thinking for the biome, so I'm just filling in the area as much as I can. And it's really these kind of things that's going to make Ruby River look so different than the 3DS. I want this to be the best game that it possibly can be. But I have to be sure that I don't take things too far, because I am working on Diamond Island, and people have actually been asking about that when I mentioned I'd be remastering Ruby River. People said, hey, is Diamond Island canceled? So Diamond Island uses the same building system that I created for Ruby River, and the weapon system will be a bit different. But the environment will be significantly bigger, significantly more dense and detailed. You have a bigger environment to explore, and you will be able to build a number of a variety of moving parts. So you can kind of build machines to an extent, you know, that are part of the environment, you know, that your structures, like what if you wanted a rotating house, you know? That's the kind of thing that Diamond Island will do differently. You will also be able to use the Joy-Cons in Diamond Island as one-to-one motion if you want, so you can actually aim the weapons and control it that way, or you can use standard controls with the Pro Controller or just the Analog 6 typical standard controls. So you'll have the option for either of those. So I'll have it, let's see there. Okay, I don't really want those two biomes to conflict, but I'm kind of considering I'm just going to build one biome at a time, and then that way each area can feel distinct and I can spend time on each area, giving it its own individuality. So here we go. We want to now mix up that environment, because now it's looking just plain, just having the one texture there. So what we will do now is I'll start using another brush. You can see that it starts coming through, but I actually want to, I'll turn down, I'll lower the opacity here, so that way I can work just a little, with a little bit more fine control. So you can see it blends it, and it's not necessarily overriding. So blending is always better than overriding. So there we are. What I'm actually going to do now, before I continue, is I'm going to drop a tree in there, just so I have a sense of scale. So I'm going to, let's see, select my friend here, press F. I really like this in Unity. This is very useful as you hit select, and that will, it's in my project folder, or my project pane. That is off screen here, but that selects it for me, and I can go ahead and drag and drop that. So the way that Ruby River works is each time you start a new save file, it generates a new world arbitrarily, but it does have designated zones at which it can generate objects. So I have, let's see here, I have something called, okay, I'll bring that on the screen and I'll show you. Oops, my multi-monitor setup wants me to do one thing at a time here. So I have scatter managers here, and these scatter managers designate an area where they can scatter items. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to find am I in subfoliage? Here we go. Well, let's just say, you know, flowers. So I'll click on that. Okay. Oh, that's my mistake. I knew that if I did that, the hierarchy would disappear behind it. That's what happens when you try to put too much stuff on there when you're trying to record on the second monitor. So I designate the north, south, east, and west. And what I really should do on these is select them and then just change their gizmo display, the little gizmo icon, so you can see them better. Okay. So I'm not sure really how to press F here, see if I can locate it. It isn't showing them. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm sure there's something I got to click and it'll show up, because my other gizmos are showing up. So. This designates the boundaries at which the scatter manager can scatter those objects, and I say the minimum count is 20, the maximum count that it can generate, and then I select the prefab to scatter. I can say that whether it can spawn on the water, you know, quite a few different things, and that allows me to create worlds that just look a bit different. This is quite basic. It's nothing. It doesn't do anything really special or interesting. It's just quite a generic generator. So there's nothing really interesting going on there, but it does the job, and it's quite a simple solution. So I'll put that back in there, and my editor configuration is getting all jumbled up. Okay, let's go ahead and continue painting now that I've got a bit of scale in there. So in general, with the Silver Falls games, I try to keep a consistency with the terrain visuals, so it feels like it's a cohesive environment, but I also keep in mind that I do want different games, different environments to feel varied, so that's something I consider. So I'm not necessarily just using the exact same visuals for, you know, the modern looking games. but I also get to consider, oh, what if I want one game to really look different from the others? And that was something that actually helped Ruby River feel more distinct. Was that it actually it was just sandy. I would say Ruby River is the sandiest Silver Falls title. And even though it will be less sandy with the remaster that I'm working on, it'll still be the sandiest Silver Falls title. So, what I would really like to do is use a tablet with a stylus to do this, but it's the terrain editor isn't really designed to use a stylus like that, because ideally you really need a middle click to navigate in the editor really effectively. I rely on the F key, so I point a cursor there, I press F, and that brings me to the spot that I want, and I can zoom on in. So that's one of the most vital features that I use in Unity here. There we go. Sometimes I'm using another program, and my muscle memory for the Unity editor kicks in, and I'll just start pressing F, and then like different things will happen in different programs, and then I kind of have to remind myself, oh yeah, it's a totally different hotkey situation going on. So what we'll do, I'm kind of thinking like in the middle area, how about let's have like a sort of a green situation going on. So this is something that I'll work on for hours. You know, I'll create a series for these videos. You know, I don't want to run too long. I think I'm close to 20 minutes right now. So what I will do is zoom on in. I'll create a little green area in here, have like a little happy place in the forest, and then I'll end the video, and then I'll work on the second part, and then we can have multiple parts to the series where I work on Ruby River. So there we are. Okay. Let's have like okay. Yes, very good. Very good. This is where I can draw my Illuminati symbol. You have to be subtle. You can't let people know that you're in the Illuminati, but you know. If you draw it in your terrain, you know, in order for people to see it, they'd have to build a very high tower and then view it from above. Okay, so I'll keep working on this internal area here. This will be nice, you know. So I'm just going to zoom out and have a look at my scale. Okay, so I didn't mean it to look like an Illuminati triangle. That's not what I was going for at all. All right, so I left my coffee sitting. Well, hey, thanks for watching. So I'll split the video here, and then I'll record the second part as well. So if you're interested in any of the Silver Falls merchandise items, I've restocked the items, and everything is on sale for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year, actually. So it's 20% off everything in the Silver Falls shop. People have been asking about the items, especially the Holtz jacket. Everyone's been asking, not everyone, but people have been asking for it, saying, hey, when's that coming back? I do have that on sale, 20% off, which is a huge discount on that. So let me go ahead and just show you the Sungrand shop here. I'll bring that on over. There we go, everything's on sale. I really like the jacket, but I personally, I use the hoodie more often. It's quite comfortable. You can get yourself some stickers. I'm actually removing this one. Because in that photo they showed that the center was cut out, but when I ordered proofs it wasn't cut out. I'm not really happy with the way it looks, so I'm taking that one down. You can get yourself some chunky chicken stickers, Maverick T Moose stickers, t-shirts. These are new. These are your soul type badges, the little pins let people know what your soul type is. Let's have a look here. We have a new khaki cap. Let's see, you got your t-shirts, you got your Maverick mugs as well. So these are Australian prices, that's Aussie dollars. You got your first aid juice, just like the games. So yeah, if you'd like to pick up any of these items, everything is on sale right now. 20% off. It'll be on sale for the rest of the year. So I'm going to do a new color changing mug for the Silver Falls Gaiden loading logo, which is a variation of the standard logo. So, okay, thanks for watching. I hope this has been interesting. So I'll wrap up the video here, and I'll start recording part 2. So, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Everyone, please have a safe holiday season. And call your parents, say hi to them, let them know that you're doing great. You're just doing great with your life, and it'd be nice to just sit down and hang out with your parents for a little while. Take care, everyone.